So we'll go ahead and jump in. Thanks for joining us in our latest version of the Modern Commerce series, aka Ask Wayne. Today we're going to be talking about our new UPS InsureShield integration, and explicitly really talking about. I don't know, it's in the software. If you're on the latest version of software, it's there. You just need to turn it on and set it up. But I don't know that most people really have their head around how easy this is to set up and how much money it can save you and potentially even make you. So, you know. Uh, at the end of the day, one of the drains on a merchant's margin, as you would all know, is lost and damaged packages, right? And on average, about 1% of packages either get lost or damaged in transit, and that can create some real pain. And so, if you go to the next slide, on a simple ROI calculator, which we will post this ROI calculator probably next week on the website. But if you're doing, call it 5,000 orders a month, so medium, but not outrageously huge. And just with some, and what we've seen so far is that about 50 to 55% of the shoppers will opt in. So the framework we're going to be talking about today is people who opt in to add insurance at their expense. So we support multiple scenarios here, but we're going to talk today specifically about making it available on your website. Your customers will see it during checkout. We'll give you a demo in a little bit. And so this is a scenario where customers can pay for something and it protects you, the merchant. And so, on what we would call kind of a mid-level average Miva customer, we believe at a minimum, it'll save you about just under 22 grand a year. And that's not even counting additional conversions or sales based on people feeling like they trust the checkout more. So let's go to the next slide. And so I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but at the end of the day, something shows up, lost, damaged, stolen, etc. It's hard to track what that's really costing you because it's spread across your P&L. You have refunds, you have support time, you reshipping stuff. You ultimately have chargebacks, and then at the end of the day, you have appeasements, things you have to do to make your customers happy. And I think most of us know this to be true. Depending on your average order value, a lost or damaged shipment often costs more than the actual value of the order itself. And so really going to show you a great way today to help prevent that, and really a no cost to you way to improve your business. So let's go to the next slide. So again, I would assume if you're on this webinar with us, you already know why you care about this, but margin leakage here, this is one of our North Stars at Miva, which is helping you guys make more money. And we view this as kind of a four-pronged stool, right? So you have increasing conversion rate by having a faster website. You have reducing returns by having proper fitment. You have things like Vector to help people do product discovery. And then the last stage of the process is fraud and return management to help solve for margin leakage. It also improves trust at checkout. People really do trust the UPS logo. And the reason 50% of the customers we've seen so far are willing to pay their own money for some insurance is because it gives them peace of mind, which then improves conversion rate. And then ultimately, less problems mean fewer escalations, which is less time on your side to navigate these problems. So let's go to the next slide. So right now, the setup is pretty obvious that you the merchant end up paying for most problems, right? So unless you actually think you could win the chargeback and you have reason to believe it's fraud and someone actually got the product and they're lying to you, you end up covering the exceptions, whether it is sending a new product, doing a refund, etc. And you don't know this ahead of time, so it's hard to calculate the costs. And ultimately, there's a person, usually probably you, but there's a person, you or one of your support reps, deciding what the best way to handle this is, which is a very expensive process for running your business. And then, of course, if you have angry customers, your support team or you are handling the emotional cost that comes along with that. And so, in this case, what we're going to show you is shoppers choose to opt in and pay for on their own package protection. It's very simple claims path with fast resolution. It helps you predict how the whole thing is going to flow, and your customers feel like they're well taken care of. So, next slide, Nick. I think I oftentimes slides end up I feel like I say the thing and then I say it again, but we'll show you here in 2 seconds. During checkout, a shopper selects to insure their order. We will also discuss today at the end how to. So we're going to talk about shoppers opting in. We will also talk about having it set up so the shoppers have to opt out. And then in a future update, we're going to set it up so that you can choose depending on a workflow, to cover some offers with insurance that you pay for because you think that'll save you money. And so today, though, we're really talking about shoppers opting in. Once someone's opts in, assuming you've configured the UPS InsureShield module, once someone has opted in and paid for insurance, and then you upload a tracking number to Miva, that is what triggers the insurance to be active. That creates a protected order. If there's an incident, whether it's loss, damage, porch piracy, it's a very simple claims path, and then you have a happier customer and or you get your money back. So let's go to the next slide. So here's some key things to know about UPS InsureShield. So InsureShield's different than the. It's funny because UPS offers this product, and this is fundamentally different than the $100 of insurance that comes with every package out there. So they pay you the full value of the product. So if you have someone buy something for $300 and they've added insurance, they will reimburse you for the whole $300 plus the cost of shipping it, not just your hard replacement costs. They have very quick payouts. 97% of them happen within 5 days. And then the more important part here is they cover everything. It's not just UPS. So it doesn't matter how you ship it, as long as there's a recognized carrier with tracking information. So you could ship it USPS, you could ship it FedEx, you could ship it on track. They'll cover all of them. And all you have to do once you've set up the module, which we'll walk you through here in a minute, is upload the tracking number, which is what you would normally do when you trigger the order fulfillment email. And then that is what you'd say binds the insurance to make it active and valid. So let's go to the next slide, I think. Oh, okay. So yeah, and then in addition to the financial benefits, customers like feeling confident about their insurance. It helps you save money, and I think we also believe it has a strong corollary to conversions and helping you sell more things. And it depends on what you're selling. If you're selling, in one of our cases, Royal Swimming Pools is using this. They're selling a swimming pool. It's interesting that customers who are paying a lot of money for a swimming pool are choosing to insure it. If you're selling a T-shirt that's a $50, $60 item, you're probably going to have less use for this. But the higher the value of the order, which are the most important orders, the better this will have an impact on conversion rates. So let's go. I think the next slide is the demo, right, Nick? Yep. So it's up to you. It's all yours.
Excuse me. All right, so I think what I'll first show you is just how it works, rather than showing you what it looks like in the admin. So I'm logged in as a customer in Yellow Tea, just to make it easier so we can go through checkout. I actually have something in the cart already, I think I do. So we'll just go through checkout here. Send it to Miva's headquarters. All right, so once the module is installed, there is a ready theme content section that is created. Once that item is, so if you're using the newest version of Shadows, that item is already there. If you have an older version or a custom framework, the documentation here shows you exactly where to add the
and it's literally just that one template line, right? It's very simple.
It's this one thing, and that's it. Everything else gets added in there. It's really easy to find, really easy to see. Our support team can help you out do it if you have trouble doing it or if you need help doing it. But what that one line does is it adds this right here, where you can choose to check the insurance or not. We'll go ahead and continue, but we won't do. Actually, we already have an order in there, so we're just going to look at the order in the admin. Once an order is placed, you get some, so within orders, there are some new on-demand columns that you can see here. These ones, the status will be unconfirmed until, like Rick said, you put in the tracking number and it actually processes, and then you'll get a transaction ID along with that. But it gives you the insured amount and the premium all within here, within these new on-demand columns. And so as far as setting it up goes, the process is really easy. It's under the modules section, under InsureShield. So you just click the install. It will install the module under the shipping settings section. You'll have to accept the terms and conditions. Once it's accepted, you go right into. Why am I not finding it? It's not there. That's why.
Is it under settings?
Oh. Yep. All right, well, let's search for it. Why am I not sure?
We use the global search all the time. No, I do.
Yes. It's under order fulfillment settings. So it'll automatically install the module under order fulfillment. and you'll accept the terms and conditions. You have a few settings here, like you can have it have that checkbox on the front end here checked by default if you want, or you can uncheck this to not have it checked by default. And then also the shipment origin and shipper addresses as well. But that's it. It's as simple as just installing the module, clicking a few buttons, and installing that, adding that line of code, and then you have this order protection already in there.
Awesome. And then do you want to walk through setting one up? Weren't you going to do it with Style Closet?
Yeah, I could do that with Style Closet. I have Style Closet open, not logged in though. Quick. All right, and so installing the module looks something like this. Excuse me. So settings, modules, ensure. So we'll go ahead and install. Put it under order fulfillment settings. Gives you some details of how it works. Click the review terms and activate. Fast read all the way through. And accept. And then that's it. Now, like I said, in order to add it to the actual template, you
Well,
would
real quick, go back to that for a second.
yes.
So you have it in this case, you have insurance selected by default. If you wanted, so that would be for customers to opt out, I believe.
So that would be, it would not be checked by default when you're going through the checkout process. So you can choose to have this checked by default
Checked or not checked, right?
or not checked. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where you configure that.
Yep. And then this is where you would configure any other a shipper address or shipment origin address that you would need to update, but it would take it from your default settings within your store. So adding the line of code is under user interface, templates. And if you go to OSL, like I said, this is all documented in
Automated.
documentation. So it's really
And if
easy.
you're using the most recent version of Shadows, it just works. You don't need to do
Correct.
anything.
Yep. And it's around 119. I mean, here's my payment methods. If you go on the front end, you can kind of see where this is at. So we just add it right in there. I pasted it right in there. And once you click update, it will add it there for you. You should be able to go through checkout just fine.
Um, were you going to show something else, Nick?
Nope, that was it. Well, I
So,
mean, so the other thing that we were going to talk about too a little bit is how you can add order workflows. I don't know if that needs a demonstration, but there are things that you can do so that you can have an order workflow set up that will check to see if this insure status is confirmed or unconfirmed, and then you can have all the unconfirmed orders added to a order queue, and then at the end of every day, you can go look at it and see why these were not confirmed and see if there's any issues with those.
awesome. And then, okay, so the first question that I've seen come in, I think this was sent via chat versus Q&A. So let's go back to the slide deck, which I think just says the next slide just says questions. It says 90% of our shipments go USPS Ground Advantage, which includes $100 coverage. And I think all of the carriers, or at least FedEx, USPS, and UPS, all include $100 of the coverage. So this would be applied to a lot of situations. So if your average order value, if 85% of your orders are under $100, is there still a strong case? And I think that's kind of a question for you to contemplate. It would depend on a combination of your loss rate. The difference between the $100 of insurance that comes with packages and this insurance is, I believe, those insurance for you, the customer, for you, the merchant, it only covers replacement costs, not the full value insured. But that could vary by policy. So the cases for wanting to use InsureShield as opposed to the stock insurance, InsureShield pays much faster. So it takes about 90 days to get the carrier insurance back, regardless of carrier, as I understand it, versus under 5 days, full value and freight replacement versus just the replacement costs. So that's really going to be a business by business decision. I can't speak to that for you. And then the follow-up question to that is, could you configure this to only show if an order is over $100? I hadn't thought of that before, but I assume you could add that to the template code to configure that to show. So yes, you could do that. We haven't set that up stock, but you could do that pretty easily. And then the last question is, do you, the merchant, get to keep any of these premiums? No, you do not. So that was those questions, and then there's more questions coming in. If you have a custom framework, do we open a ticket with support to install? Sure. Or you can just do that line of code that Nick just showed either way, but we're happy to install it for you. That is no problem.
Yeah,
Oh, and then
if you have a dev branch, you can try it on your dev branch and just test it out on there and put that code on there. And if it worked, then you can just go to your live branch and put it in there.
And then someone from UPS just sent me a note. So when you use the carrier included insurance, over half of those claims are denied. So the other benefit of using InsureShield versus that is that the acceptance rate here, I think, is close to 100% unless they believe it's fraud. So you'll recover not just more money per claim, but uh, you'll recover all of it. And then the other thing to remember here is we're really describing a scenario where the customer is paying for insurance. So there's no downside to you for offering this. There's only upside. The one place where there could be a little bit of downside is if you make the customer opt out, you will get more coverage. You will add some customer service friction. On the flip side, there's really no downside to having the customer opt in. In the cases in which they opt in, you have better coverage. Sid, hey Sid, always nice to see you here and at Miva. Does this cover shipments that are marked as delivered by the carrier, but customer claims were not received, possibly stolen? Yes, it does. So I think the only time it wouldn't cover that is if they suspect you're involved in fraud. But no, it absolutely covers that. Oh yeah. So my UPS birdie in my ear said Porch piracy is covered under InsureShield and not covered by the carrier liability. So that's an explicit use case in which a carrier liability, the included insurance would deny something, and InsureShield absolutely covers it. I'm getting all these. Is there another QA section? Are you watching for?
I am, but no one's using that. Everyone's using
Okay, so they're using the chat one. Okay,
Yeah.
so I had a feeling this Modern Commerce series would be a quick webinar, and so right now we are on pace for it to be quick. We're about 20 minutes in. So there is no cost for you, the merchant, for using InsureShield like this, unless you choose to start paying for insurance. In this case, in this whole setup, what we're demoing today, the shopper, the end shopper is paying for the insurance, and it doesn't cost you anything. We are going to release more updates later this year before the holiday season that will include the option for you to have an order workflow where you have some reason to think that this order is higher likelihood to be fraudulent or stolen, and where you could choose to pay for the insurance. So there will be scenarios in the future where you could choose to pay, but everything we're discussing today is shopper elected insurance, so it doesn't cost you anything. All right. Anything else we want to cover? I mean, this is a really simple product. So it doesn't matter if you pay for the shipping. So the question is, what if we pay for the shipping? It's free shipping for the customer. That does not make a difference. The only thing that matters here, so the customer is opting in for an insurance policy, not tied to the shipping rate calculation at all. It will show up in the basket line item as its own insurance line, and then once you input a tracking number into our system, which also is what you do to trigger an order status email update, that will bind the insurance and make the insurance valid. So it doesn't matter if you're doing free shipping. Obviously, that's become kind of the norm. So they're not interrelated. This is a good question, and you might need to ping Kiefer real quick, Nick. So Sid wants to know if an order is canceled before shipment, will the insurance cost be refunded to the customer? I suspect the answer is yeah, you wouldn't pay us anything for that. I believe the answer is going to be you wouldn't pay us anything for that insurance, and therefore you'd be able to refund the whole amount. But I'll see if I can get you an answer for sure, Sid. And if I don't get an answer here in the next 5 minutes, I will email you afterwards. Does the customer get an email on how to initiate a claim, maybe along with their order confirmation, or does the customer contact the merchant to start that process? I don't know the answer to that one offhand. If anyone at UPS knows the answer to that question offhand, you can chime in and let me know. Otherwise we'll answer that on the website or in the webinar follow-up when we post it online.
So there is a question in the Q&A. It says
Okay.
customer pays for the insurance, but how does InsureShield get paid? Via the merchant or via Miva?
So InsureShield is being paid via Miva, and you, the merchant, are paying Miva for the insurance. We should triple check that with Kiefer, but I believe that is how the workflow works.
I believe you're correct as well. But
yeah, I'm like 99.9% sure. We will bill you for the insurance collected at checkout, and we will pay UPS on your behalf. And then UPS has let me know that the merchant or the consumer can file the claim using the customer's claim link provided. And then does the customer automatically get a claim link per order, or is that something the merchant has to enable based on a loss? We can go back to talking baseball while I wait for some insurance answers.
It looks like Kiefer's responding on that other topic as well. So
okay, so there's a singular claim link that the merchant uses. So the merchant can either provide a claim link to the shoppers when they buy insurance, or you can file it on their behalf. So Sid's question is, if a customer does not opt in, but you want to add it for specific orders, can you buy insurance from the admin? And the answer is I don't believe you can today. There might be a workaround where you could add it to the order afterwards, but that is 100% a feature that we're adding between now and the holidays, where you can choose to cover orders based on risk scores or other, or just manually if you'd like. So this answer today, Sid, is I don't think so today, but 100% in a couple months. Uh, so is there a rate sheet for billing and what we pay Miva? So it's not really a rate sheet. It's automatically calculated during checkout. And then that will be, you will collect the money and that'll be remitted to us. So it varies by order is the answer. It varies based on the total amount of the order. And then it's automatically collected, counted during checkout. Does InsureShield cover international orders? I don't think it does today, but I will get you an answer to that. I think this is all for US orders as right now. Maybe it does. I should have had Kiefer on this. Oh, it does. Sorry. I'm glad that UPS is in the background providing me some answers. So yes, if you ship overseas, it does cover that as long as there's proper tracking. Which certainly I can see why that's a huge benefit. Uh, can you see in the admin, is there a report or can you see order section which orders have insurance? I know the answer to that is yes, but Nick, is that an easy thing for you to show real quick?
Are there reports or admin section where you can see orders that have? Yes, that's what I was showing you before. There's those
Yeah.
on-demand columns that it will say confirmed or unconfirmed, and the ones that have confirmed are the ones that have insurance. And you can add those to a order
Batch
queue,
list.
so a batch list, so you can see those however you want to process those.
So the question is, do the premiums vary at all based on the shipping service, USPS, FedEx, et cetera? No, they do not. The premiums are entirely based on the covered order value. It's worth noting that if you have any questions for me or Nick, you can email us directly. I'm rwilson@miva.com, or Nick is nadkins@miva.com. And if you haven't quite figured it out, you can get to anyone at Miva by first initial, last name at miva.com. And happy to answer any questions. So far, the customers we've seen have this live. It's really been an incredible offering. It's kind of a minor piece of the bigger picture of running an e-commerce store today. But we have a handful of customers who have been live on this since it launched, and we've seen really incredible results. The most incredible part is we were really only expecting about a quarter of shoppers to opt in, and we're seeing a number closer to 50%. And I think in many ways that's due to how smooth the integration is in Shadows. When you look at this on a lot of other platforms, the integration is really just frankly terrible. And so it's clunky. When we were testing some other well-known e-commerce platforms, we were able to create scenarios where you could actually have insurance with nothing in the cart, which is clearly not the right outcome you want. And other cases where it just broke your browser. We went to a lot of trouble to build this in a seamless way that helps with conversions, doesn't risk hurting conversions. And we're very, very proud of both our partnership with UPS and what we've delivered for you. So thanks for taking some time. And later this year, when we add more features to InsureShield, we will do part 2 of this webinar. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. We'll talk to you all soon.